2 days before our March 17th conference. I was sitting in our new apartment. We just moved into it. One of the staff called and said, "You better come up here."
I was walking across the field with Sam, and we see a Kenyan police officer carrying an AK-47. And we're like, "Hi, can we help you?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're here to mark out the railway."
And sure enough, right in the middle of the conference, the Chinese construction company that's in charge of building the railway line actually came and knocked at our doors, and they came in and said they were here to survey our property because the train is coming through us.
I went back, sat back down in the chair, and that's when it hit me. This could actually happen. It took the wind out of my sails for a bit. It was like the biggest blow I'd had in a long time.
That's when my blood really became cold, and it was not easy. It was a feeling of all the investments we've done, all the hundreds of trees we've planted, all the investment, all the developments we've added since we started doing this. I felt like it's just all been washed away in a blink of an eye.
I think it was more of sorrow. Like everything is gone. Like it's not gone, but it's going to go. And then the next emotion was loss.
They had decided, the powers that be, that it was coming through our property.
And so the guy comes and tells me that your property has been selected for the train to come through, and we don't want to upset you, we don't want to make anything hard for you, we just want you to understand and hear what this process means. It means that we will acquire you compulsorily.
The next day, then one of the higher up officials came, and that was July the 5th, and told us the whole procedure of what was going to happen and answered all of our questions. And from that moment on, we knew our property they're taking it. When 2018 started, we were at the top of the world because we had promise of being paid. We also had found the land that we thought we would build on. We were ready to go the next level. But then things began to happen where, because of the size of our payment, it was very large, and other people wanted part of it, which eventually led us to court.
Basically what he told us is that in this country, you have to part with something. He said, "I'll tell you the figure we want out of your 9 million. We want 2 million as a kickback." So I told him, "But now we're already here. You can't take any kickback from us." He said, No. We will still extort some of it from you.
At the same time, they had already started building the railroad on the south end of our property.
They had gone as far as they could without destroying property, but we'd still not seen a shilling.
They were starting to put pressure on us. We needed to get out of the way.
We didn't really have a choice, and we were given 1 week to get everything out of the property, including our home.
We were there when they were tearing down the buildings, and we watched the buildings come down. Every time we would hear the thud of the machinery, something was dying inside.
Inside I was crashing because I've served as CMM for like 20 years now. And here it is coming down.
To watch it being torn down, and we're not sure where we're going from this point. And then you watch them start tearing down the dormitory, and then they tear down the guest house, then they tear down the pavilion, and that was a rough time. That's where we definitely understand the scripture that I would have fainted unless I'd have believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living.
There were more than a few occasions where I honestly didn't think I could go another day. I didn't have the emotional stamina, the physical stamina, and at times the spiritual stamina.
So the way the wind is blowing onto a candle, but then it keeps going, then almost gone, then it's back. That's what I felt like. We had to really work on our hope, as in it's gonna happen.
It was really hard. It felt like we were going round and round in circles, like there was no way through.
It kept dragging and dragging and dragging all the way to 2019.
In April 2019, whenever those who wanted part of our money were really coming to try to get it, it looked like, in fact, there was times when it looked like we were going to lose it all. They basically said, you're just a small church out in Rongai, basically that we didn't know anybody, and that we would be tied up in court for years if we didn't go along with what they wanted.
They're running stories about it in the local news. And then that's the time when a lady by the name of Victoria, who happened to be wife to the U.S. ambassador, and she's come to our property for 6 years.
Bringing a group of youth.
So when Victoria was watching news, she saw and she was like, that's CMM. So she tells her husband, I think we need to be involved with this thing. Let's help them.
That was a major turning point. They stepped in and had a meeting with some key people. It was about a 2.5-hour meeting, and when that meeting was over, everything changed.
That's a really nice judge. So he says, hey, if somebody's land has been taken, then they need to get some money. Because it's been 3 years at that point.
Yeah.
It's been 3 years of court cases. So he says somebody has to be paid. And I want to declare that Clarence Mathini should be paid within 7 days. I mean, we almost hugged the judge.
We were coming from a regional meeting in Baringo. We were headed to Kitale.
Kitale is where everything started 52 years ago with my parents. And so we get to Kitale and we have a regional meeting. I'm speaking when Pastor Chola, sitting in the van, gets a call. Wow, it's fun to tell this.
They said the money has been transferred.
I'm preaching, and he's doing his best not to run up in the middle of the message. As soon as I took a breath, Chola comes up, and then the whole place explodes.
It was a good feeling. It was like the end of a bad dream.
This property had been up for sale for 14 years.
The first time we came to look at this property, it was raining, foggy. We walked in, we
It
just
just
came a
looked
few
all
meters, we were like, oh, we said,
grey
no,
and
this is not
dreary.
it. Then like several months later, another real estate agent brought us to this property.
The same
property,
one.
but we didn't recognize it. It was
Yeah.
a bright day,
The sun was shining. It just made things so different.
and we were like, oh my goodness. Suddenly we appreciated the lake. We appreciated the incline. We could see all the buildings and how they're going to be laid out.
We started seeing the possibilities of this place with the wow factor behind us, the dam, and all the landscape, the tea bushes. And eventually, after we looked at diagrams that we had drawn, we realized this could work.
We signed a contract with this gentleman, and we actually had the groundbreaking in June of last year. This is 1 year later now, and we are almost 80% complete.
I think I feel what Mama used to feel when she built the previous EMM, seeing every block go up, every building start from the ground up, going around. It's an exciting thing. I mean, wherever there's growth, you're growing with it.
When we think about Clarence Mathini and Jewel Mathini and how they planted the seed. In fact, I remember we were looking at the
Photos,
picture of
pictures,
Jewel,
yeah.
when she was standing on the foundation of CMM, and we thought, what, we are looking at the exact same thing many years later, but bigger.
We were able to bring all of our coordinators here for a couple of nights for them to be treated like VIPs and to stay in our guest house. And the next day we had just a celebration, soft opening is what we would call it. About another 150 people, friends of ours in this area, who've worked with us here, they all came. They took on the responsibility to win this battle through prayer and to stand with us and encourage. During the court times, they would all take a day of the week. They'd fast and they'd pray on that day. And every day was covered with all these guys for several weeks praying through these things in court. We really believe because God intervened because of those prayers. So now they feel a lot of ownership and that they had a part during this time, and that kept momentum going. When we saw the excitement in all of these people's heart, the things they told us, some of them walked through the gate, did not stop. They walked down all through the buildings until they got to the water, fell on their knees and thanking God. And they said, we're in heaven. No, and we're still a construction site.
Seeing the pastors come and worship in this place after staying away for 5 years is, I don't have words. It took me back 5 years, and I felt like there's a God in heaven, and He's giving us a new lease of life.
First of all, it feels unbelievable. You know, you almost want to say, okay, somebody pinch me. Am I dreaming? You know, you every time, that's the feeling you get. You're like, is this for real? But it's actually for real, and it's so exciting.
To be honest, I don't know if I was dreaming that big. I was going to let whoever followed dream a little bigger, and it's like God has gone above even that.
This is fruit of seed that was sown many years ago. I don't think it's just coincidental or just good luck or chance. I think it's choreographed by God in such a way that all the sacrifices eventually culminate in the blessing that is now visible.
I mean, now I can remember those stories and tell them like stories. They were not stories then, they were reality. But now we can put them in books and put the books away, because that's the past. The journey was not easy. Destination is exciting.